You're listening to the Broken Meeple Show, a podcast that speaks passionately about board games for the benefit of those who play them. My name's Luke Hector, best known for the Broken Meeple YouTube channel, and I'm an everyday gamer just like you. And I'll be talking about reviews, top 10s, and just about anything that connects me to board games, as long as I have a tea or coffee in hand, that is. So grab a cup, relax, and enjoy. And remember, it's only a game. Hi everybody, welcome to another podcast. I forget, is this 106, 107? I always lose track of these in terms of numbers after you get to a point. But yeah, I mean, Happy New Year again. We've already had one episode since the new year started, and certainly the focus point of this is looking ahead as to what we are going to get into the board game world. But very quick updates, there's not a lot to say really. I mean, generally things are fine. Work is work, but it's better than what it was pre-Christmas and the cruise. And, you know, the blog's now, you know, back up and running, you know, videos are coming out. But in terms of what I've actually released and stuff, there's, you know, we've got a couple of videos out recently, including another top 10 list. But I also want to talk briefly about the intentions for the top 50, as it will be now known. So let me just get the window up. Whoop. Here we go, magic. So yeah, we've recently passed the 25,000 subscriber limit. Thank you very much to everybody who has supported this show to get us past this milestone. You know, here's to 30,000. It's the next milestone. Always aim for the next 5,000 mark. And you know, 25,112. You know, we're up. You know, we're making good stead in January. I must admit. I don't know if January just happens to be a period like that. I remember like this show when I started the first 3 years used to be just like 100 views, 100 views, 100 views, nothing. And then when I started focus on it, it started going up again and, well, started going up proper. But it's still taken a long time to get to this point. I mean, some people manage it quicker. It is very difficult to stand out in the industry when you are basically, you know, a single male in the UK by yourself. It doesn't really help. I mean, these days, you know, you really want, you know, what people are sort of crying out for is more diversity, which is cool. You know, more doubles, more couples, that kind of thing. So, you know, channels with 2 people tend to be more popular than those with 1. So, you know, or a group, because obviously you have banter between each other. I don't have that set up. The best I can do is get someone on a live stream online, and even then I haven't had much time to really do those these days. So it's tricky to stand out, because what makes me different, apart from the fact that my videos take about 3 times longer than most other people's to edit because of all the music and the clips and stuff, but then also because I have to do the whole, you know, honesty, integrity thing, and that's kind of my shtick, you know, tell it how it is. So, you know, I thank everybody who watches this show and has got me to this milestone. So here's to the next one. In terms of the content that I've put out, well, since I came back, hopefully you can't hear the laptop noise too much here, but yeah, Shackleton Base and the top 10 of 2024. Obviously those two have gone pretty strong, as well as Andromeda's Edge that I did on New Year's Day, and Canopy Evergreen, that speed review, so going strong. And of course the last episode. Now the last episode, people wondered why it didn't appear on the RSS feed. That was my fault. Apparently, because I was in a rush to get that out before I went off to a gaming event, I didn't realize that I'd rendered the video version of the podcast, but didn't actually render the audio version and upload that to SoundCloud. So that's why you didn't get it on things like Spotify and stuff. So I've rectified that. That is now on there. I will obviously make sure I do it this time round. But if anybody on Spotify or a couple of those other platforms still doesn't see it after today, I don't know how long it takes to update the feed. But yeah, if after today you still don't see it on your RSS feed, give me a shout, because it hopefully should be working. And since then, only a couple of videos. I've been very busy. I've literally had a period where I did 9 days of solid work and gaming. So if I wasn't at work during the day, I was basically, let's say, a game event on a Friday. So meeting up with mates. Saturday was an all-day event, local sort of event that takes place once a month. Sunday was the reopening of the Vibrant Forest Brewery tap room game event, which some local people do as well. That was great. They all happened on the same weekend, annoyingly, but that was just the way for January, so I went to that all day. Then Monday work, and then Southampton on board, and then Tuesday work, and then the Bognor Regis Gaming Club. And then Wednesday I had to be in Reading for work, so that was all day. I then travelled to Milton Keynes from work, did work in the hotel on Thursday, went to HandyCon Thursday evening all the way to Sunday evening, where that was a great convention as well. You know, fair play to Paul Harrison and the rest of the gang. Came back with a bit of a food poisoning issue. You know, never trust a Holiday Inn Express breakfast, I guess. But yeah, it hit me on my last game. I remember, you know, during that morning, sort of, I had a splitting headache during my first game with some friends, and I thought it was just dehydration. So I drunk some water, took some tablets, but it wasn't having any effect. Then I had to teach Wild Gardens to three lovely ladies who had wanted to be taught this game. I had it. I thought, oh yeah, I'll teach you it. And I felt so bad because during the game I just couldn't focus because I had the splitting headache, I had nausea issues, I had to keep going up and down to the bathroom and to the water jug to try and get more water and to, you know, do business and stuff. And it was just like, you know, I'm not being sick, but I feel it. Something's not right here. I need to go home. And we had to call the game halfway through. I said that I would stay behind and just teach them the rest of the game so that they could have the rest of the game. But they were very nice, very welcoming, and basically said, yeah, we know we like this game. We played half of it. We know we want this, and it's in the bring and buy. We're going to go grab it. So it's like fantastic. At least they got what they needed out of it. But yeah, they said they recognized me from the channel and stuff, and I felt so bad that I was like, you know, you go to meet your heroes, and your hero is basically half like, like sort of half dead, trying to teach a game, and it's like, oh, I felt so bad, but they were so nice about it. So thank you for that. But yep, I mean, thankfully it was only a short spell. I mean, I drove home, I was a bit fatigued, had some problems with trying to stay awake, and the nausea really was starting to hit by the time I got to the M25. So I pulled over for half an hour, sat in the services, had a quick little power nap in the car, felt a bit better, went home, and then for the rest of the evening, I just sort of kept recovering. And then by the end of the night, I was like, yeah, I kind of feel all right, you know, slight headache, but no nausea. I don't feel too bad. I was just eating dry food, but yeah, I didn't feel too bad. Then by the morning, I felt, yeah, up 6 o'clock in the morning, go to work. I don't know what it was. I mean, I thought normally if I get those symptoms, I would get it for a lot longer. But no, it just whacked me out for that day. And then by the morning, I was fine. Typical, right? Oh, well. But anyway, I'm fine now. So, but yeah, so we've done the Isle of Cats dual review, and we've done the top 10 games of 23 retrospective. So I'm a bit late to the party on this one. I normally do these around the summer. But this is basically me looking back on 2023's list and then rejigging it to say, right, a year later, what new games have I played? Which of these games are starting to fall off the list? Which ones are still going strong? And I take a good look at those. So by all means, get your views in on this one. It's doing okay so far. I only put it out yesterday. Well, actually, no, I put it on January 24th. So yeah, it could be going stronger, but the retrospective ones don't tend to do as well as certain other lists. I mean, I guess this is the way it is, you know, it's all cult of the new, so, you know, nobody's interested in looking at last year. We want to know, look at this year. Hence this video. But, you know, I've only done those two videos mainly because top 10s take me a long while to edit. Here, they take me a long time to edit. I'm sorry, but I would bet money that compared to a lot of other creators, my videos take a lot longer to edit. And you know, I was just away for so long that I just haven't been recording anything. So, but we got some content coming. We have got a speed review of, oh, I keep saying we. I've noticed this. I keep saying we, but it is just me. I don't know why I do that, but, you know, well, it's me and, oh, here we go. It's me and FizzGeek. Here we go. It's me and FizzGeek here. Oh, little fluffy FizzGeek. Hey, careful. But yeah, okay, maybe we do it. He's the brains of the show. But other than that, yeah, we've got, Station to Station from Alley Cat Games, speed review of that. And I've also recorded a kind of best of the rest video, or like the rest of 2024, because there was a bunch of small games that I just didn't have time to review. There's a couple of biggish ones that I still want to do a speed review for. Kraftwagen, the new one from Arcane Wonders, is on that list. I just need to learn it and play it. I need to also do a speed review of Undergrove, so, you know, hopefully soon I'll be able to put that one out. And I've recently just acquired, thanks to Kiender's, like monthly credit thing for sponsoring me, Video Game Champions. So I'll try and get the box over here. Oh god, here we go. So this little beauty here, I have no idea if this is going to be any good or not. This one has literally, I've seen good reviews for it, but then the thing is, not to put a fine point on it, I'm seeing a few reviews these days feeling a bit like IGN. And if you don't know who IGN is basically the They're basically the Everything is Awesome channel for video games and movies. So IGN basically just randomly vote something bad for no reason, but just to be contrary. But for the most part, they just give everything 7, 8, 9 out of 10s. You know, they give everything such great review scores, despite the fact it's garbage. Like, you could actually create something like the FIFA soccer games that EA Sports put out for their, you know, those garbage ones where they literally just rehashed it, made it buggy, unplayable, and stuff like that, and they would still give it like a 3, 4 out of 10 or something. And it's like, no, this isn't bad. This is just unplayable. It's like, what would it take for you to give something a 1 out of 10? It's kind of weird, but this one's had some high reviews. From the mechanics, I'm not necessarily getting that vibe that this is a 9 out of 10 wordy game. You know, that was what the Dice Towers review was for. I mean, they put on Dice Tower Essentials, but I love this theme. This theme is going to speak to me heavily from a nostalgia perspective, you know, the whole playing old video games and that. So I'm certainly intrigued to get this one played on Monday and start giving it the beans. So yes, I will eventually do probably a speed review for that one. I don't think it warrants a full scale review, but the rest of 2024 is a bunch of small games that I just couldn't get to. So looking over there, I've got the Game of Tarot, Yellow Games new range. I've got Coney, the rabbit tableau building game from Little Rocket, Kimono Memories from Empress 4, Magic Maze Tower from Sit Down Games, and that's Station to Station. So yeah, a few of these other ones, and I know at some point I need to do a beyond the base game video for Ancient Knowledge Heritage expansion. The only problem is I since got rid of my Ancient Knowledge game and forgot, oh yeah, I need to do the expansion for it. So I might need to borrow a copy of Ancient Knowledge from somebody locally in order to actually give that one a review, because I can't really review it without that game. But, you know, that's for another day. So yeah, Barmans, there's more stuff on the way. And of course, the top 50 is currently being prepped. I'm doing the Pub Meeple ranking engine, and I'm only doing 50 because I think 100 is too much work. It's not necessary. People kind of glaze over the 100 to 50 now. So I thought 50 is a better one. And I must admit, as I'm ranking these games now on Pub Meeple, firstly, it's nice to only have to rank out of about 100 games rather than, you know, 500, because I'm obviously only taking games I rank like a 9 or above, you know, and then considering whether they still would be that for my own personal enjoyment, because obviously I could rank something like Alice's Garden a 9, 10 out of 10 for how, you know, perfect a game for its genre it is, but that doesn't mean I want to play Alice's Garden game after game after game after game. You know, there's a difference between, you know, my personal enjoyment and what I believe the game is worth. But yeah, that one is in progress, so hopefully soon I'll be able to start doing that. I'm probably thinking of doing something like a 50 to 25, and then maybe a 25 to 10, and then the top 10, or maybe I'll do maybe I'll do it in 2 batches of 15 and then 2 10s, or maybe I'll just do 1 big batch of 30 and then 2 batches of 10. You know, I'll figure out which way I'm doing it. It's going to be 3 or 4 videos, and you know, hopefully during February I'll be able to make a decent start on that. So, what's the purpose of this video then? Well, we're looking ahead, because you know, everybody's now on the case of, right, 2024, it's so old school. Yeah, that was last week. We don't care about that anymore. We're now interested in 2025. Up to a point. I mean, I don't really do top 10 lists for anticipated games. Some people do, and they're popular, but I'm not a big fan of doing them. And I stopped doing anticipated game lists, I think, last year, because I think I might have done one of 23, but then stopped like last year. And the main reason is that anticipated game lists are kind of a little bit, well, bare bones, aren't they? Because, you know, you basically end up on there going, right, my number 9 for this year is X game, and it's from this person. It's got a nice cover. And then cut to like Homer Simpson's head or something with the tune. It's like it's like, well, what are you supposed to say? You know, most of these games that are coming out in this year, you don't know anything about them. At most, you might have a Kickstarter spiel about them and that's what most people are anticipating. They're just anticipating what they've spent £300 on Kickstarter. Yeah, I think. it doesn't give you a lot of information. So what exactly are you supposed to fill a top 10 video with? So I just prefer to do this on the podcast. You know, I can go through Board Game Geek, just browse through the games and just see if anything takes my fancy. And honestly, I haven't done any research. I've just basically said, look, I'm going to go down the list on this episode and just see what catches my eye, because I don't get onto the hype train with these games. You know, I mentioned, well, there's a couple I'll mention that I'm still waiting for on Kickstarter. Oh, blimey, we got the storms opening outside there. But that's it. So, yeah, there's not much else I'm really looking forward to from a Kickstarter perspective. Maybe one or two games that I've heard of. Other than that, I'm just like, well, what are these games? And somebody recently on the UK Facebook group put up a post saying, what are we anticipating for 2025? And I saw these comments and titles of games. I've never seen such a more dreary pile of garbage in my life. I mean, not to say like the games are garbage. I don't know what the games are about, but I'm talking about the titles. You know, I mean, it's basically, you remember like the Delicious Games one, Ray Safa or whatever it is, and a couple of the other ones like Mennefer and what was another one, Sabika or something like that. You know, all these really generic titles of games, right? Take that, make them 3 times as boring, and that was the list of games I was getting on this Facebook group. And it's like, how am I supposed to know anything about these games when you give me a bland title like that? It's like, how am I supposed to be anticipating this? And if you tell me, oh yeah, it's a dry Euro where you get to level up tracks, really? That's what we're anticipating? I think we're kind of beyond that since 2002. You know, so come on. It's like, there's got to be something better to look forward to. So I don't get hyped about games. I just wait for them to come out and like to be pleasantly surprised. You know, they go like, "Ooh, what's this? Oh, this looks cool. Okay, cool. Let's play it. Do. Whoa, that was really great." You know, that's the way I like to go about it. I don't like to do the whole, "Yes, can't wait for this game. This game's amazing. I'm gonna do it. Yes," and and because you just set yourself up for that bit. You know, where you just deflate. You know, most games will not live up to their hype. There are some exceptions, but given the frequency of one to the other, I would rather be pessimistic and then pleasantly surprised than optimistic and then constantly disappointed. You know, that's kind of like the way I'd go. But yeah, we're just basically going to go through a bunch on Board Game Geek's list. I've just literally filtered it by 2025, and we'll go from there. But I'm going to mention a few specifics off the bat, just in case they don't turn up there, and this is based on what I have seen. So recently, people are going on about this, the Lord of the Rings Fate of the Fellowship. This is Z-Man Games, Matt Leacock, and it's a Lord of the Rings themed game. I like Lord of the Rings, fair enough. And, you know, it mentions about being a cooperative game. So, where each player controls 2 characters, cool, lending their abilities to protect Frodo, battle enemies in pivotal locations, and evade the menacing Nazgul and Sauron's searching eye. Okay, this seems alright. I mean, I don't know much else about it, but here's the reason I'm not particularly excited for this one. Look at this thread here, right? I find the lack of pandemic branding the most exciting. Somebody has already quoted from them. Matt Leacock and Z-Man Games will find out on June the 27th, 2025 with the release of the wonderful game built on the pandemic game system. Cool, that's Storm. Pandemic game system. Yep. It's not supposedly entirely the same as Pandemic, but again, it's based off the Pandemic system. For God's sake, Matt Leacock, will you grow another thread of innovation in your skull and do something else? This is getting ridiculous. You know, we're done with Pandemic. Pandemic's a great co-op game. I still have Iberia on my shelf. I haven't played it in years, but I still have it on my shelf. But I'm getting sick and tired of all these spin-offs and all these, this is just Pandemic with, you know, Cthulhu. This is Pandemic with medical dice. This is Pandemic with the fall of Rome. And this is, for crying out loud, just do something else. I hope that this is very loosely based on Pandemic and it's got more unique systems to it and stuff, you know. So, and it's Lord of the Rings, it's co-op. I mean, it says 60 minutes to 150 minutes on here. Jesus, 150 minutes. I don't know if this is a game. If you're basing it on the Pandemic system, I'm not sure I want to be playing this for 2.5 hours. So, yeah, that seems a little bit insane. But surprise me. Please surprise me. But don't come out saying that this is based on the Pandemic system, because that really isn't going to win me over. I want this to be something different. Please let it be unique and interesting. You know, the big Sauron Tower there looks pretty cool. I don't know, I guess you drop cubes into that. You've got card decks, you've got a more intricate map than most Pandemic games. It could be cool, I don't know, but just don't lead your pitch with based on the pandemic system with me, all right, because it ain't gonna work. FinSpan, obviously, doing the rounds constantly with the mind-numbingly tedious memes and jokes that have been made about this. I mean, the game title itself is already a joke, but I've already said my piece about this one, but I will be reviewing it. Viewer of mine has very kindly, just like last year with Apiary, bought the game for me. I've obviously paid them back, but they bought it on their pre-order system under a Stonemaier Champion because I refuse to subscribe to that anymore for the sake of one game a year. What is the point of being a Stonemaier Champion if you're literally only releasing one game a year? That just seems dumb. But it gets a discount on shipping and a discount on the price. So, this is on its way. Well, at least it will be when it fully releases or something. It's pre-ordered. He'll get it's going to come straight to my house, so we haven't got to do any logistics. So when it arrives in the UK from pre-order, I will play it and I will do an honest review, like I did with Apiary and all the other ones. So and like Wormspan and stuff. So yes, definitely I am reviewing this one. Am I looking forward to it? I want it to be good. I'd like Stonemaier to put out a good game again. I haven't done it for a while, but the fact that it is like, a clone of Wingspan with like, bits stripped out kind of worries me. But, it's not like Wingspan was a complicated game, but it's about fish. I like fish. I'd be it's got good aesthetics. It will hopefully be smooth, elegant gameplay. Hopefully it's not too multiplayer solitaire. Wingspan's not exactly the most interactive game in the world. If FinSpan's even less interactive, then maybe it'll be a good solo game, but then the idea of playing this with 4 or 5 players goes completely out the window. So we'll see. I'm definitely getting this one, but it's not necessarily one I'm anticipating. I'm just going to, go into it and see if it can surprise me. And the 2 Kickstarters that I currently have on the go, one is the Abundance expansion for Earth. I've already done a preview of this. I think the expansion is fine, but I don't think it's an essential one for this game. It does make it a little bit more complicated with some of the graphic design and the fact that you've got this central, like you've got the fact that sprout cubes can now appear on your board as a temporary thing and players are giving each other sprout cubes. It makes it a bit more interactive, but it also makes it a bit more fiddly and clunky. I don't know if they've managed to iron out some of the wrinkles by now, but I very much doubt it. So, I think this is a decent expansion, but not a particularly amazing one. So when I get it, I'll add it into my copy and that'll be it. But that's pretty much all there is to that. It's been delayed for ages. And of course, oh god, this one's taking forever, Stellaris. I want Stellaris to be a good game, I really do. I like the IP, but this has been delayed for so long, even though you've got the publishers backing and it's Academy Games who normally have done good stuff in the past. The amount of delays that this has had worries me. I'm worried that this is going to come out and be a flop and like nobody's going to, well, I don't expect loads of people to play it because this is going to be a niche game anyway, but yeah, I'm just worried that it's going to be a problematic flop, but I'm hoping it'll be good. I've got people who like Stellaris who will play this with me the instant I get it, so we should be able to absolutely burn through this in a weekend of gaming to play Stellaris, but come on, just hurry up and bake the damn thing, will you? Because it's taking forever. Drinking my coffee, throat's a little bit, well, maybe I got a minor cold, I'm not sure, but throat's a little bit dry. Okay, right, well, let's go down the board game list then. So let's have a gander, right? People are getting this one already, so let's delete these other tabs. Tab, die. Right, so Iridia, The Paths We Dare Tread. It's an interesting title, I'll give it that. But so this is a fantasy open world campaign setting, and that's about as much as I know about it, because this came on Kickstarter at a time when I just really wasn't into getting a massive campaign game again. And there are some exceptions. I mean, the recent Lands of Evershade one that I previewed from Awakened Realms, that one seems like it will be an easier one to get to the table. This one looks like kind of Gloomhaven levels of complexity and sort of Eurowiness and that, but it could be amazing. I don't know. I mean, certainly production wise it does look pretty stellar with all these cards and dividers, but this is another one of those giant box. What the hell is with those dice? Those dice, is that supposed to be like a grid combat dice thing? Wow, that is weird. Okay. And then it's like some pictures. Yeah, miniatures, miniatures, miniatures. Who cares? Don't care about miniatures. Give me standees. But yeah, I mean, this could be really good, but this isn't a game I don't think I'll be playing. It's too big. This is obviously going to be one of those. I mean, look at this, 60 to 2,400 minutes. I mean, you're just taking a mick at that point. But I ain't got time for something as grandiose as this. Could be really good, but this is going to be something that I think other players who have got all the time in the world to play a solo campaign game and nothing else in their life takes precedence are the only people that are going to be able to get this one out nice and quick. So, if I get to play it, I will. I think somebody at my Bogner club has said that they're taking players to try and play it, but I've only got so much spare time on my hands, and I'm just not up for committing to a massive campaign game at this time. But maybe it could be cool. Maybe it could be cool. We'll see. Oh, I've got to go through. Yes, I made the mistake of not adding a new tab, so I've got to go through all the. There we go. That's better. So, all right. Let's do this method. So. Speakeasy. Okay, so Lacerda. I didn't back this on Kickstarter because it was ridiculously expensive. And also because Lacerda needs to win me back, honestly. This is the 1920s era Prohibition, so a cool theme. You are essentially worker placement, car management, standard. Take on the role of a mobster, managing and operating your own speakeasy empire. Okay, sounds cool. I mean, theme-wise, totally down for that. Not the biggest mobster fan, but the whole Prohibition thing, fine. It's a Lacerda, so naturally I'll be keen to try it. I'm down for some meteoriness from him. In fact, we played the Gallerist on HandyCon, actually, in memorial to Steve Jones, who was a guy who attended a lot of conventions, known universally as the guy who sits in the corner, always has Lacerdas to play, and has the largest capacity for analysis paralysis and how long your turn takes of anybody in human history. So he had a bit of a reputation, but he was a decent enough guy. And, he passed away recently, which was quite a shame. And we, HandyCon had a bit of a memorial table for him. So we played a couple of games in his honor, and we played Gallerist. So Gallerist is obviously solid. But this one looks cool. I mean, the art's fine. There's a lot of iconography all over the place. I won't get into this theme quite as much as some of the other themes, but the thing is that the last couple of games from Lacerda have not won me over. I wasn't that keen on Weather Machine, really didn't like Inventions, so we've had 2 games in a row where I'm like, you're not as good as you used to be, mate. You're not as good as the Gallerist and Kanban days and Vinyos and that. So this one needs to win me over, which is why I want to play it. I would love to review it if I can. But I certainly don't, because I don't think I reviewed Inventions. I, played it a few times, but I never really got a copy of the game, because the only way you can get a review copy of this is if you preview the game, and I refuse to preview most games. So, yeah, I don't really get review copies from Eagle Griffin. But, I'd love to be able to try this and review it if I can, but I'm just not going to be jumping on the bandwagon for it just yet. Please bring me back, that's what I say. Okay, right, let's have a look at something else. Galactic Cruise, on the other hand, I am certainly anticipating this one, because Galactic Cruise I have actually played a couple of times. It is a solid game. I mean, it looks like a Lacerda, from Kinson Key Games, and also slightly distributed by Dranda Games as well. But this one, I'm definitely down for. This is a unique theme, running a galactic cruise company. I mean, that is not being done. I go on cruises a lot more now, so I like cruising. I've just been on one, obviously. We're going on one in June again, so the whole theme already works with me. But I remember this game just being a very good media experience. I mean, this is your player board. There's quite a lot to deal with on your player board, but look at it. It's a pretty good looking player board there. And then you've got the game itself, which is quite a smorgasbord of stuff. I mean, it's not the prettiest board in the world, that is to be said. The artwork is Ian O'Toole's, and it certainly does the job, but it's not like the board looks absolutely gorgeous. But I liked what I did from this. You build the ships, you send them off, you've got different passengers, you've got different workers, you can upgrade certain worker spaces. It's you can customize your ships and stuff. I mean, look at this. You're building a ship with a distillery and laser tag on it. I mean, the theme is going to be strong with this one. So I know that this is already a decent game from a preview perspective, but I'm hoping that when it comes out, it'll be fully good, fully realized. Everything will flow together nicely. And this could be a potential game of the year, to be honest. Not saying for me personally, but I would be surprised if, considering a lot of people out there who do these like top games of the year are typically the ones who want the heaviest thing possible with a million mechanics. Hence they were liking games like Inventions. Why? But this one should easily be one that they would gravitate towards. So I'd be surprised if we don't see this on a bunch of top 10 lists, frankly. But yeah, I'm certainly anticipating it, so I look forward to it, and hopefully I will be on the review copy bandwagon for this one. I already told them I wasn't going to preview it, they were fine with that, so hopefully they'll still let me review it. Alright, let's have a look at Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era, don't particularly care. I'm not a big Elder Scrolls fan. I played Skyrim back in the day, and I basic a few levels of Morrowind or something, but I know very little about the Elder Scrolls universe. It's another fantasy setting as much as I see it. And it's another one of those big campaign games. And what is it? A 1 to 4 player cooperative tabletop adventure set. Each adventure takes place over the course of 3 gameplay sessions. 2 hours a bit. I suppose maybe this means that you don't have to commit. Or play with the same group forever. Okay, so you can, shorten this one a little bit, but it's Chip Theory Games, which means it is not only a really expensive game, but it's probably loaded with a million rules. Chip Theory do not know how to streamline their games, and it's a fantasy adventure game, and I'm kind of just burnt out on these right now. By the time Evershade comes out, I might have got back into it, but I don't need loads more of these like big complex things, and even then, it doesn't look that great from there. You've got all these trays with the dice in again, because that's pretty much what their deal is. You've got these really cool play mats, but the map doesn't look particularly interesting, and I'm not kind of big on the whole poker chip thing. So, yeah, this one hasn't really excited me. I'm hearing good stuff. I think Paul Grogan really loves it, but I'm just not a big enough Elder Scrolls fan to really care that much. Stellaris. Oh, Stellaris is up there, so okay, fine. Flow, not looking forward to this one at all, mainly because the demo I had was abysmal. I had a demo at Essen, and I'm sorry, but I'm not going to name names, but suffice to say, she was not the best demoer in the world. This is not a complicated game. It should have been relatively easy to explain. But the way that you move on this map and what you're actually doing in the game and all these important bits that you kind of need to know for a demo were not explained. She just took us straight into the game and barely explained how to move. That was basically our intro to the rules. Apparently the German players I was with did not mind this fact and were getting into it, but I don't know whether Germans have a different idea of what a demo should be, but that is not how a demo should have gone. Me and this other guy literally had no idea what we were doing. We had no idea what the objective of the game was. We didn't know what the theme of it at all was. Why are we doing this? Or why are we doing any actions on this board? It was a dreadful demo. So the game could be good, but at the moment, I'm soured on it. And even then, I don't think that this game is going to be one that stands out from the crowd. I think this is going to be another game that exists, and it'll be okay, but that's about it. So, I'd like to try it again properly, but yeah, this is why you've got to get your demos right. You need staff, you need people who can demo well. Don't just pull anybody who says, oh yeah, I'm free, therefore I'll do it. Do your research. Make certain that they're comfortable teaching games. Because at the end of the day, if somebody teaches your game bad at a demo, that's a customer you've lost. They're costing you money. So be aware. Okay, not much for that one. So what else we got? Cyclades Legendary Edition. Cyclades is fine. The original Cyclades I'm not a fan of, but I liked it more with the Titan expansion thrown in. So does this automatically have the Titan expansion thrown in? I don't know. Does look very pretty, miniatures and that everywhere, but it's good artwork. It looks like a cool area control game with the whole, bidding system for which gods you use. So, it was a solid game, but I don't know if this is going to, what is it? They've reworked the base game and its many expansions. So, if they have made it so that you can now move troops a lot better than in the original game, without needing like a Titans expansion on top, then that works. That would certainly work. And yeah, they've already got the team mode in there. So I think team mode works pretty well in this game. But yeah, I mean, this could be pretty solid. But again, big Legendary Edition, big expensive Kickstarter. I'm just kind of done with Kickstarter. It's too much money. Brexit has basically ruined Kickstarter for the UK, and Kickstarter's just getting ridiculously expensive now anyway. So I know I'm not desperate to spend extra money just to pre-order a game. It's too much of a pre-order system and not, like a normal system. Okay, but we'll see. What else we got here? Gloomhaven 2nd Edition, could not care less. I never really got into normal Gloomhaven. A 2nd Edition is not going to change my mind. Same reasons as with Iridia, just big campaign game, and even then, the mechanics of Gloomhaven I was not a fan of. Nemesis Retaliation. Well, the Nemesis games are hit and miss for me. Occasionally you get a really awesome game of Nemesis. But most of the time you get a very boring game of Nemesis, or an anticlimactic game of Nemesis. And that's after you've gone through a massive rules teaching process, only to then die after your first encounter with an alien, and then you're done. Yay, that was fun. So, not exactly the best, but this one I'm intrigued by. So, Nemesis Retaliation. Highly trained Marines enter an alien nest with strict orders and advanced tools. So if you imagine that Nemesis was Alien, this one is more aliens, and this one is meant to bring more thrilling gameplay and more tools to help deal with aliens. So, how can there be a review for this game when it's not even released yet? It's called a preview. It's called a preview. Yeah, just saying it's a preview. Okay. Yeah, so I'm down to try it. I mean, if they can improve on the original formula and make it more of a fun aliens type game, then yeah, I'm down. But yeah, don't have so many clunky rules, and make it so that it's not stupidly long either. It'd be nice if we could get it done in a quicker space of time. But yeah, I'm not like dreadfully looking forward to this one, but I'm hopeful that it improves on the original, because I felt a little bit. I remember kickstarting the entire collection and then selling it off. I mean, that was hard. But yeah, Nemesis just never hit the table. Okay, let's continue down. Metal Gear Solid, the board game. I have no idea what this is. I mean, I know what Metal Gear Solid is, but cool mini or not particularly interested. It's just going to be miniatures. It's just going to be another skirmishy game. Yeah, I'm just not interested, really. These skirmishy games just do not interest me as much. I mean, Deep Rock Galactic had to work hard to impress me, and it did. But so many of these exist, and Cool Mini or Not just don't seem to be able to, like, improve on the formula. I mean, you can tell just from the amount of Zombicide stuff they release, and then all these Marvel, no, not the Marvel, which one am I thinking? Well, Marvel Zombicide, Marvel Zombies and stuff like that. I was thinking of Marvel, what was the one I'm thinking of? I was thinking of that small one, the co-op one with the big minis. It's called Marvel something. I can't remember, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I'm not that big on big skirmishy games, so they just don't get me excited. Dune Imperium Bloodlines. This is going to be an expansion, right? Yep, expansion for Dune Imperium and Uprising. Uprising should not have been invented. But more new tools, bolster your fighting force. I mean, for crying out loud, the game is already hyper-focused on combat. We don't need it to be more focused on combat. New tech tiles, new leaders contracts. So this basically just looks like, apart from the commanders, this basically just looks like more of the same, which is fine. Add more variety, but I mean, Dune Imperium fans are going to snap this one up like crazy. Personally, whatever. Horror on the Orient Express, the board game. I spoke to the publisher at Essen. It was like the last thing I did before I went home. And bear in mind, I was suffering from COVID at this point. This one is intriguing enough. If they can pull it off. It's a Cthulhu-based game, so you're on the Orient Express, 1920s, you're on a dangerous train, and monsters are attacking the train, and cults are hiding among the passengers, and there's a vampire on the train hunting down everything that moves. You're trying to solve this mystery and stop the monsters and that as a co-op before time runs out. Now, this, could be interesting. It's based on the, you've got the sort of Call of Cthulhu style here. Character development, play pieces, and all this stuff. We've seen this stuff before. But I'm down for another Cthulhu game, because it has been a while since we've really had one. And it's kind of cool that you've got, you can get new skills, talk to the passengers, get clues, learn a spell or two. There's a few stuff we've seen in other Eldritch Horror games, but you know, I am at least intrigued by how this one will do things differently. And I quite like the whole like train thing that's set up here in terms of where you move. You know, that's pretty cool. But yeah, sounds like it'll be quite a tough game. It will bring out that Cthulhu theme. I think I will be reviewing this one. I mean, I spoke to the publisher. They've got me on file, so I suspect this one will be a review copy when it's released. Is it one that I'm anticipating? Not terribly. I don't think this one's like, oh god, yeah, cannot wait. But, you know, I'm down for another Cthulhu game, and if this one can be a good, self-contained one that doesn't take 4 hours to play, you know, isn't quite as, like, broad and crazy with the setup and stuff like Eldritch Horrors and the Arkham Horrors and stuff, you know, then I'm totally down for it. Okay, what have we got next? We have got World Order. World Order. Yes, from the makers of, here, and even similar designer of Hegemony, which is like one of my favorite games of all time. So you would think that I am completely looking forward to World Order, and it will be my most anticipated game ever. No. I have only played a demo of this, but I have reservations. Not because I think it's necessarily like, oh, these are terrible mechanics and that, but think about what you're doing in this game. You play a faction, one of 4 factions, that don't feel that different to each other. This is not like Hegemony levels of asymmetry here. You basically get cards, which you can, you know, put in front of you for set collection stuff, basically. And your goal is to put these cubes on these tracks next to these continents here, and during the game, you score at various stages based on area majority. That's the game. Does that sound that fun to you? It didn't sound that fun to me, and when I played it, I didn't get that excited over it. I mean, you can get special cards that you got cards that you play that do different effects. That's probably the most fun bit in the game, but the rest of it is just basically popping some unit tanks on the board, putting these cubes on these tracks, and it's just a bog standard area control game. And I'm just like, area control is not my favorite mechanic in the first place, but this one basically feels more like a kind of a multiplayer Twilight Struggle. And I wasn't the biggest fan of Twilight Struggle in the first place. So as much as you do have some interesting, you know, micromanagement to do with the cards and your resources and stuff, the theme didn't really come through as strong as something like Hegemony, and at the end of the day, I'm not excited about plonking cubes on tracks. Paul Grogan definitely really liked this one, but I think cubes on tracks definitely suits him better. I mean, he's looking forward to the remaster of Nippon or whatever, and I remember playing that with him and being bored to death. So yeah, we do have very different interests in some of these Euros, but yeah, cubes on tracks. Is that really what I'm supposed to get excited for? I don't know, but I definitely want to play it properly, do a proper review of it, you know, full-on review, and give me honest thoughts. But yeah, the demo didn't sell me on it, you know, and I was kind of hoping that this would. I wasn't expecting Hegemony 2.0. That's impossible. Lightning struck. Like the original Ghostbusters film, you can't replicate lightning again. It won't strike twice, so you just need to accept that. But still, I don't know, I was kind of expecting a bit more, and the demo at least did not sell me on it. The demo was basically about half a game. So, you know, we played about half a game, and I was just like, is that it? And, you know, we'll see. But I'm hoping that this will get better. All right, let's see, next one. Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. Really? This is actually sold out, I think, on my Kiender page, actually. But, I mean, it's a trick-taking game. A cooperative card game that plays out over 18 chapters that lead players through the events of the Fellowship of the Ring. In each chapter, you take a different character role, and you must meet a specific condition. So, I don't like this style of artwork. I know it suits some, but, not me. I mean, I would try it because it's a trick-taking game, but yeah, that's about it, really. Maybe not. Dragon Eclipse. What have we got here? I've seen this cover before. It's Awakened Realms. Okay, yeah. Manage your cards and energy to brave your way through this fantastical realm. Heard it. 1 to 2 players. This is only a 1 to 2 player game. Okay. That's a problem. I mean, I could certainly play it solo, but I don't get 2-player games to the cards much. So what do? You explore a world with majestic creatures that you can battle, tame, catch, and train. What's this, Pokemon, the Awakened Realms version? Each creature has a unique deck of cards you can use in combat and special abilities. Okay, I mean, that does sound pretty cool. Um, okay, not bad, not bad. I could see myself trying this as a solo game, but I'm not. Oh God, hang on. If we got to customize, if we got to do like deck customization and stuff like that, I'm not in the business of doing that. Oh, I gotta keep the drink up. But I don't know. I'm not seeing it. I mean, it's you've basically got this board with like green hexes everywhere. You've got this very nice artwork with the cards, but I'm not down for a 1 to 2 player tactical card game myself. It's not something I'd likely do. If the solo mode is great, then fine. The cover is gorgeous, I will give you that. That sort of like a dragon eating its own tail, or Ouroboros style. Yeah, that is a very good cover, I'll give you that. But, I'm not desperate for this one. I think this one was a Kickstarter recently, and I just kind of glossed over it. Okay, what else have we got now? Something, oh god, Fox Pour. No, I'm not going to go through every single one. I'm going to try and highlight specific ones that catch my eye. So, Star Trek Captain's Chair. Oh, let's go on a separate tab. Let's do it right. Star Trek Captain's Chair. Okay, so, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, sort of. It won't be long before it's out. I think it's out in January, February time. And this is basically a reiteration of Imperium from Nigel Buckle and David Turksey. So, I am down to try this one because I like Star Trek, or at least some of them. And, I like the Imperium system, but the Imperium system is very, it's a very complicated deck builder. It takes an eon to set up. The rulebook needed several iterations before it was readable. And even then, it's still a bit of a long slog to get through. So as much as I like the mechanics of Imperium, it's not the most practical to get to the table. I am totally down for a slightly more streamlined version that focuses on Star Trek. Although looking at these cards, that's a lot of text. That's a lot of iconography on these cards. So is it still going to be overwrought? Is it still going to be too complicated to be a game to get into? But we'll have to see. But it's certainly one I do want to try. So when this comes out, I will definitely give it a look. Star Trek Captain's Chair. Night Shift, do not care. This one, the controversy with this one being about playing as a stripper, charming customers. Yeah, not exactly a game I would sort of jump on there. And I mean, who actually previewed this one? I'm curious as to who's actually previewed this. So we've got Exotic Cancer. What a name. BG Andrea, Adam Singer, and Elway Fan. So these are your reviews. And it's apparently all the women have reviewed this and no other guys have. But yeah, I'm not exactly. Wait a minute. Artist Exotic Cancer, designer Exotic Cancer. Oh, that's just Let's Peek. Oh, that's not an actual review. All right, that's the actual thing. All right, my bad. But yeah, not exactly looking forward to that one. That's for sure. But I'll be interested to see what controversy this draws when it actually releases. Now, this one I actually am legitimately looking forward to. Revenant. Mind Clash Games. Now, I won't get a review copy of this because I don't think I've ever had a review copy of anything from Mind Clash Games. I think the idea of somebody being honest about their massive release is a little scary. But the idea with this one is that this one I think is the game that Voidfall should have been, because this one I played about half a game at Essen. Played a big full game, got learned the rules, and I'm actually tempted to back this one as a late pledge. I really did enjoy this. Now, I don't know if I want loads of miniatures and stuff like that. I mean, this looks pretty good on the table, doesn't it? And it's not miniatures, and it's standees, and, it's like cardboard. I'm probably going to be content with the retail version, frankly. Maybe I could be convinced to buy the deluxe upgrade at a later date, but I just don't think you really need the ships. But this game I really enjoyed. I mean, it's got the Voidfall graphic design and all that, so it's definitely got similarities and it's the same universe. So, Voidborn ships. But here's the premise, right? Here, the Voidborn ships are attacking your fleet of ships. It's basically like a convoy ship with a bunch of ships from various factions. You are trying to protect the ships while fighting off the Voidborn, but depending on who you like what ships you use during the game and who you start leveling up a sort of loyalty track with, you will score more points at the end of the game for protecting the factions you're supporting and letting the ones that other players are doing get blown up. So that thematically already works from a sci-fi perspective. There are plenty of sci-fi shows and films where there's this big overwhelming threat, but all the individual factions are still corrupt and looking out for number one. But this is a really thematic game generally. I mean, you've got this big battle going on here with all the ships, all the like damage being dealt. You fly this little ship around a bit like something out of Firefly, and go to planets or go to like fight off the ships, or fend off, take the hits for certain other ships and stuff. And there's all really cool stuff there. But each of the ships, I mean, let me say these miniatures are cool, but I just don't think I need the miniatures, frankly. Especially with these massive jagged corruption damage things in there. But each of the ships individual moves around the board, but they have their own action spaces as to what they do. So you have a dynamic, fluid worker placement board that constantly is in flux. That already is really cool. And then you can upgrade like personnel in your crew, your captain, you've got unique abilities, you've got technologies that you can grab. I mean, this really did just sing to me when I was playing it. And it's not a simple game. It's definitely light years simpler than Voidfall. I mean, Jesus. Voidfall by comparison is, basically like working at NASA. And this is like my first spaceship by comparison. But it's still just, it was really good. I thought this was wonderfully thematic. It had still got those Euro mechanics. And you can even do stuff like get the ship to jump drive. You can do a Battlestar Galactica jump drive in this game, where basically you reset the map. All your ships appear in a new location and the Voidborn have to come find you again. Oh my god, that is such a cool thematic inclusion. And, you might have one person try to do it. People might work together to kind of do it. It's such a cool system. There was just a lot of stuff working for me in this. And as you can see, look, it's a table hog. It's going to be a long game. Not as long as Voidfall. But similar to get into, but it's going to be a good, fun game. I can see myself really enjoying this. And as I say, I'm tempted to go back this on Kickstarter. I really am. I mean, if it's the retail copy, maybe I should just wait until it comes out on retail. But if I do decide to go deluxe, then that is a possibility, but it's a lot of money. And I don't like spending a lot of money on games. But yeah, this one, basically, as I played it, I thought this is what Voidfall should have been. This is my idea of Voidfall. This big space battle, these cool heavy Euro mechanics, but not too impractical to get to the table, not 4 hours of gameplay, not an hour of setup, not in a giant box that you can't store anywhere. It's like, this is what I wanted it to be. And definitely I think it's pretty high up there on my anticipated games, really, because the demo really did work for me, and I'm very keen to try this out properly. All right, okay. What else we got? We've already mentioned Finspan, another Elden Ring board game, tiny epic Game of Thrones, whatever. Nature. Nature I'm kind of anticipating. This is basically the North Star Games people who did Evolution and Evolution Climate and stuff. This is their new one that they're bringing out, but, if they're reiterating on a system which originally was a bit flawed, all the Evolution games have kind of been flawed, hence I've never really got into them much. But the idea with this one, obviously maybe improving on some of those systems and like correcting them and, streamlining them and stuff, is all well and good. But I like the fact that this one is a modular system. So you essentially create the ecosystem and make it unique each time. There's no limit to the amount of modules you can add. You can play it on its own, combine it, have like over 20 unique ecosystems, and basically you have like, a species pack for predators, a species pack for birds and stuff like that. And then you got to do the classic thing of get your species and evolve it and, give it traits and stuff and feed it. So it's got those similar mechanics. It's got the great theme. I always like the theme of Evolution, but mechanically it was always a little flawed. But I'm down for this one. You could release a bunch of modules in the main game, which I think they release, I don't know. I mean, I forget how many there are. There's at least 5 or 6 possibly in the main box. I could be wrong. It doesn't tell me. But, the idea is that, you'll get more packs and you'll be able to customize this game to your heart's content. So if you can get the mechanics right this time round, to make it really, really good, then I'm down for having this one. This one, does sound pretty cool. All right. Not interested in Everdell Duo. I think Everdell has long past its due. Spiritfire. Lufia. This one I am also looking forward to, actually. This is from the same people who did Distilled, and even though I do have problems with Distilled, I think it is a bit of a flawed game, especially with that very lucky mechanic of how you make drinks. This one, on the other hand, from Paverson Games, it was at Games Expo, so I got to try a demo of it there. And obviously, I did not sign up to the preview bandwagon. I'll review it when it comes out. But I enjoyed this one. It's got Vincent Dutrait's artwork, and I think Vincent Dutrait suits this style. It is Vincent Dutrait, isn't it? Vincent Dutrait? Let me check. Vincent Dutrait, yeah. I think his artwork suits this kind of time period and stuff, but this was basically like, I mean, I like the theme. You are constructing instruments, publicizing, like, musicians and getting them to perform in like the big Albert Hall or whatever the main big theater is here or something. But it's like, that's already a cool theme. You're effectively like a I don't know what they call them, but you construct instruments, all right? And that's a cool theme. But the bidding system in this game was quite cool. You use these tokens and you place them on the different action spots on your player board and on the main board. And depending on what power level you set each to is going to determine like the turn order for that particular action. And, you're worried about whether other players will go on your space, how many players will go on the space. And it's like quite a nice little tense like programming system that comes in there. Yet the mechanics are not that complicated, and there's definitely rewarding turns. It's definitely going to reward a bit of luck and a little bit of skill. But yeah, I was quite impressed with this one. I liked it. I liked it from a mechanical standpoint. We played a scripted game for the most part, but it got me to see what the system was like, what the turn order system was like, these tokens, and it gave me an idea of like, oh yeah, I can see this one leading to some diverse styles of gameplay. But yeah, I wasn't like desperate to back it. I feel like I'll be happy enough with a normal release version. But yeah, I'm down for this one. This is definitely, I think, probably in the top 5 alongside Revenant as highly anticipated this year. All right, let's take another swig. My throat's really drying here. How long have I been going on here for? Wow, 57 minutes. Okay, might have to start wrapping this up soon. Let's see what else we got on this list. Stone Saga. Never heard of it. Let's have a look. Stone Saga. Open Owl Studios. Aren't these the same people who were releasing Ice? Oh no, they're the same people who did Mythwind. Okay, now Mythwind, I reviewed this one last year and gave it an average 5 out of 10. So yeah, that doesn't sell me on it immediately, but I did like the concept. Mythwind for me was like, 10 out of 10 for the concept, but kind of 5 out of 10 for execution. If this one can give me something particularly unique, what have we got here? So, survival, crafting board game. Sorry. Each game session covers a generation of people. Must meet their needs, crafting and building, exploration, persistence. Okay, so it's not sounding like anything new, but I'm down for a survival co-op game. I think this could be pretty sweet, so yeah, I'm intrigued. What else we got? Do not care about the Puerto Rico revision, whatever. I'm not the biggest fan of Puerto Rico in the first place. It's had so many times to come out and get it right, and they've messed it up every time. So, whatever. And also, is this Awakened Realms doing it again? Yeah, but it's Awakened Realms, so it's going to be overproduced, much like the Castles of Burgundy one was. So, yeah, not interested. Let's see, what have we got? All these IP-based games. I mean, just because you put an IP on it doesn't mean that I'm going to instantly love it. I mean, I'm not a massive Witcher fan. I did enjoy the Cyberpunk video game, but I don't know if this one will be a solid game. But, I'm down to try it, to try a Cyberpunk theme game, but who knows? The IP alone is not going to sell me on it. Oh, yeah, my throat's really going. I might have to wrap this up soon, guys. We've got Innovation Ultimate. I already have most of Innovation. Queen's Dilemma. I played King's Dilemma. I thought it was fine. I don't know if the Queen's Dilemma is going to fix the problems I had, but the thing is, the group I played it with were so turned off by the King's Dilemma that I don't think I'd ever be able to convince them to play the Queen's Dilemma, honestly. Lands of Evershade, I've done a preview video on that. By all means, check it out. I think this will be a very good RPG-style system for board games. So, yeah, by all means, check out my thoughts on that. Avalon, the Riven Vale. This one does look pretty sweet. I mean, it looks like dudes on the map, area control, BT-up game. But, the publisher has been very friendly. I'm pretty sure I'll get a review copy of this when it comes out. It's very pretty. You've got a very cool card system for how you play stuff, but we'll have to see whether it separates itself out. Okay, literally struggling to speak for more than a few seconds without coughing. So let's just talk about one more, and not any of these generic. Well, Baghdad. I played at a recent GridCon. It's a point salad, bone dry, but it's a pretty cool one. It's got a system similar to Viscounts of the West Kingdom with the cards, but it's it's very simple, very quick, and still good turn angsty. I think the last one I'm going to talk about, last one. I haven't seen it anywhere. Oh god, there's so many more to talk about. I'll Try and Survive. March of the Ants. Looking forward to this one. Weird City Games. Never played the original, but the new version, a kind of area control, customizable game about raising an ant colony. Theme-wise, fantastic. Weird City Games have done well lately for me, so definitely down for this. Ada's Dream, Alley Cat Games, definitely up for this one. This one is a dice placement game, kind of reminds me of Newton, where you have like 4 sections of the board with very different mechanics, and you kind of have to interchange between them, but it's done with dice. Again, looks pretty cool. But where's the game I am searching for that I know? Here it is. Yes, I can't end the session without talking about this one. This is also another highly anticipated game, Valheim. Valheim, the board game. We played this on Sundays, or at least we did. We finished our current campaign. We're going to revisit it when they release the full next biome. But yeah, we played this a lot online. So this is a good fun game for me from an IP perspective. But more importantly, it's the same people who did Deep Rock Galactic. Yes, Mood Publishing. They have already proved that they can take an IP that is a solid IP and be faithful to it. If they can do the same with Valheim, I am totally down for it. Now, Valheim's a bit more complex in what it actually involves than Deep Rock Galactic is. So can you replicate that well in a board game? I don't know, but I'm certainly down to find out. I have not had a chance to even try anything of this game demo-wise, but if Mood Publishing have still got me on file and they want to give me a review copy of this, believe me, I certainly want to give it a shot. So yeah, this is definitely up there on the list. Right. We have got to shut this down now because I cannot keep this talking. I think my throat is just a bit... I did do a bit of recording on Saturdays and Fridays, so maybe I'm still recoiling from that, or maybe I do have a minor cold, I don't know. But yeah, I need to shut this down before my throat disintegrates. So yeah, hopefully that's given a sort of insight into some games I'm looking forward to or not looking forward to. If there are games I missed out and you think should be given some works, I mean, there's loads of games coming out. Of course, there's going to be games I missed out, but what are you looking forward to in 2025? By all means, if I didn't mention it here, get it in the comments and tell us why we should be looking forward to it. And don't just say it's a generic point salad dry Euro, therefore I'm looking forward to it. There's got to be something more to anticipate than that. But, by all means, get it in the comments and let us know your thoughts. So that's it for me. I'll see you on the next Broken Meeple show, and you can listen to me on the next podcast. By all means, consider subscribing if you have not done so already. The Patreon is also there if you want to help keep this channel running. But for the most part, thank you for getting me past the 25,000 subscriber mark. Here's to 2025. Hopefully some of these anticipated games will, meet my expectations, and hopefully I'll get a bunch of surprises from stuff that I wasn't looking forward to that come out and go, oh yeah, actually this is really, really good. So, here's hoping. I would like to be able to get to a top 10 of 25 and actually say this was a fantastic year. Here's hoping. All right, here's hoping. And the thing is, it's got to be a fantastic year for games that you can get. I don't care if a ton of Kickstarters that you can't get hold of on retail were suddenly amazing, because they need to be available to everybody. I'm not interested in your niche Kickstarter that only 10 people in the world can get hold of. That's not making a good year. That does not a good year make. But I digress. Take care. See you next time. Bye for now.